Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Soul Sister Show with host Sue and Ann, and today we have Thursday, February 25th, 2021. So we are proceeding in this year, right? And we have a very special guest today, Jim Rajan, so stay tuned. And we are a live call-in show, so call in at 213-943-3587. 213-943-3587. International callers dial +1 213-943-3587. You can call in for questions, chat with us, share a story with us, whatever's on your mind, so to speak. Or why not get a free mini reading live on air? Or you can tune in with Jim Rajan today to let him say a few words about you. That's intriguing. And remember to press 1 to talk with us live on the show, because otherwise we won't pick your call up. Or you can go to scrollsofthesoul.com/live, scrollsofthesoul.com/live, to listen live and text chat with us in the chat room during the show. And I'm Ann, coming to you live from Stockholm, Sweden this time, and it's a little bit cold here. It's colder than Greece, of course, and colder than Spain, and colder than Arizona. So today we are broadcasting from Arizona in the U.S., Stockholm, Sweden, and Madrid in Spain, all over the globe. That's fantastic. And we will welcome special guest Jim Rajan, discussing Jim's new healing ceremony and standing in the river of life, plus your calls for questions live on air. And we'd love to talk to you, so call in at 213-943-3587. 213-943-3587. International callers dial +1 before the number, or why not join us in the chat room at scrollsofthesoul.com/live. scrollsofthesoul.com/live. And we are always a live call-in show, so we love to interact with you. And on today's show, we will welcome special guest Jim Rajan, discussing Jim's new healing ceremony and standing in the river of life. So it's a wonderful topic, and I have to tell everyone that Jim has been on our show before, twice. So he's a very well-known guest, and he has fantastic abilities, so tune in. And if you haven't listened to us before, we are the show that discusses the Akashic Records, soul realignment, healing modalities in general. And of course, we are passionate about all and any spiritual topics. So give us a ring, call in at 213-943-3587. 213-943-3587. International callers dial +1 before the number and press 1 to talk with us live on the show. And we are very proud to announce that we have listeners in 27 countries all around the globe. Thank you all for honoring us with your interaction, so that you call in or you just listen to us, or however you do it. But thank you so much. And you can find us on YouTube. Just search for Scrolls of the Soul Radio directly on YouTube, and subscribe and like our videos. Now let me bring on my co-host for Soul Sisters, Sue, all the way from nice weather, Arizona, U.S. Hi, Sue. How are you?
I'm breathing a sigh of relief. That's how I
I know. We had a little bit of a stress coming on today, so
Yeah.
but we made it, right?
Right. Yeah, we did. Thank you, everyone. Mother Mary, I've got to put out a thank you to Mother Mary because I feel like she was very much a part of me patiently waiting for everything to boot back up. Thank you, Mother Mary.
Yeah, I know.
Oh God,
But
let me
I
tell you
think,
guys.
that there's a blessing with that also because it kind of got us going, right? So now we are all laughing. That's a nice
Yeah,
energy.
right. We are so fortunate with this work that we do. We rarely have an issue. Okay, so I have to take some blame on this one because I need to. My husband and I, we have a computer. We need to swap out, what I have on this computer to a new one, and we just haven't done it yet. And so that was a real big kick in the butt this morning to say, okay, enough playing around. It's time to get on the new computer. Gee.
I have to say this, even though we are very spiritual, we are human beings, right? So yeah, I
Yeah.
get it because sometimes my angels and guys come with a frying pan for me because I don't listen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. That's exactly what that was. You couldn't have said it any better, Sissy. It was a frying pan, and I was had a little bit of panic, but we're good. We're all good.
Everything is good. So
yes, weather's beautiful here,
ahead.
by the way. Just a quick note.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's cold here, actually. So I'm longing back to Greece. What else will I do? But it's okay here. It's fine here. So there's a blessing with being here, too. So, well, we are going to bring Jim on very soon. And everybody, right now is a great time to get your spot in the queue. You can call in at 213-943-3587. 213-943-3587. International callers dial +1 before the number and call in for questions or chat with us, chat with Jim Rajan, our very special guest, and press 1 to talk with us live on the show. That's very important. Or why don't listen live and text chat with us during our shows at scrollsofthesoul.com/live. scrollsofthesoul.com/live. And you can connect, sorry for my voice, you can connect with Jim Rajan at jimrajan.com, and he's spelling it JimRajan.com. jimrajan.com. And if you'd like to connect with me, Anne, or Sue, you can find us at scrollsofthesoul.com/Sue or scrollsofthesoul.com/Anne. And of course, if you go to scrollsofthesoul.com, you can find out all there is about our radio. Now, join us live on air. So please, we are awaiting your phone calls here. Call in at 213-943-3587. 213-943-3587. International callers dial +1 before the number and call in to chat with our very special guest. For questions, share a story with us, or why not get a free mini reading live on air? So press 1 to talk with us live on the show, or go to scrollsofthesoul.com/live to chat with us in the chat room. Now, before we move on with today's show, let's recap what the last show was all about.
Yes, let's do that. Last week, which was the third week of the month, we take on numerology, and for the past couple of months, Anne and I, there's a specific set of numbers we were grabbing, and I thought I would do a reversal of it, which all I'm doing is I'm taking the numbers, these set of numbers that we had used from prior shows, and using the alphabet. And there's a certain pattern that gets created, and from that, I'll derive a whole bunch of words to kind of see if there's a message coming from these numbers. So here, stupid me thinks, okay, I'm going to get one word. There's going to be one message. No. There were many words, and last week we got through one block, meaning there was 20-something words. So this is going to be, next month we'll do a part 2 on this, just because of how it all came together. But I will tell you, it's quite fascinating to do, really interesting, and I'm learning a lot through this. So there is messages. There's a lot of messages. So, I was hoping I'd have this beautiful statement, from these numbers, and I'd be able to say, okay, this block and this block and this block says this, and isn't that wonderful? Nope, it's a whole bunch.
Yes, nope.
So it was intriguing, and of course, there was a swear word that came out of one of them, so that was kind of funny, but I didn't say what it was. So, anyways, so yeah, we'll take on a little more next month and break down some other numbers. It was interesting.
Yeah, I think that's okay, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'll leave that word alone. So, anyways, so Sissy, would you like me to invite our guest, Jim?
Yes.
Okay. Jim, are you there? Can you hear us?
I am. Hi. How are you guys?
Hi. Awesome.
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm really, really well. Thank you. Yeah, really well. Really pleased to be back with you again. It's a real honor to be here.
It's our
we
honor.
absolutely love it.
We love you.
So, how's it going out there in Spain? What's it like, and what's the temperature, and how is it?
Well, it's really cold actually. It's about kind of 5 degrees. We're kind of in the middle of winter here, and I live in the kind of just close to the mountains in the north of Madrid. So it's in the center of Spain. So it's pretty cold.
Oh wow!
And with everything, with coronavirus, we've had some very serious kind of lockdowns. Now things are a bit more relaxed, but it's been a really interesting time. Actually, it's been a very, very strange time to live in Spain. But yeah, apart from that, really, really good. Yeah, really, really buoyant and happy, and just raring to go as always.
Right. Well, for our audience who may be new to you, we can tell you that, like Ann had said earlier, we have had Jim on in the past, and he has some amazing hypnotic music he plays with the flute, and that is it's incredible. You could feel it go through the body when he plays. So we always enjoyed that, Jim, when you played for us. I think the audience did too.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah. So, thank you. Yeah, it was really nice last time.
Yeah, very beautiful. So what are you up to now? What's new now? What are you doing?
In the last 18 months or so, life has just really exploded for me in some fantastic ways. I'm still making music and producing music, and I've just started working with an English guitar player who is incredible.
Okay.
And I continue to work for other people, making guided meditations and visualizations for other people as well as my own. But the two main things that I've recently started is I'm now doing a live visualization workshop every week on an app called Insight Timer. And I'm actually doing 2 every week now because they were so successful. And we have people all over the world joining in, and each week, we come together as a community to really experience the real potential power of using visualization to change one's own life. And they're all called the Healing Circle because it's become literally a healing circle of people all around the world. And the other thing I've started doing, which is something I always did, excuse me, but just because of coronavirus, it really kind of exploded, is I'm doing something called a healing ceremony, which is, oh, excuse me, which is where I connect to a person's base frequency and help it realign. Funny how
Do you need a sip
my
of
voice
water?
just goes at the perfect moment.
Oh, geez.
I've got some water. Hold on a second.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. In the meantime, while Jim's
yeah.
taking a sip of water, take your time, Jim. I actually found your app.
So
as you were talking.
Sorry, say that again.
I found your app. While you had taken a sip of water, I went and peeked in real quick. So, I'll wait though.
Well,
I'll wait for you to finish.
So there's some really, we're doing some great stuff there on Insight Timer, and have a really wonderful following of about 8,000 people or something. So that's really nice. But this, so I'm doing healing ceremonies, which has just all of a sudden I have clients all over the world for it, and there's no kind of technology involved. I just connect to a person's base frequency and really just listen to them and hear how they are and where they are in their life and why they are, and what that person really is at the core of their being, at their essence. Help it realign and then relay back to them essentially what they said. So it all comes from them. And I've been doing it for a long time, but I never really kind of had faith in my abilities, let's say. But I started doing it seriously, and all of a sudden it's just I have many clients every day and people who want me to do it for them over the weekends, and I'm kind of a bit swamped, but in a good way. I really enjoy doing it, and it really helps enrich people's lives and really empower them. So so that's it's just great. It's wonderful.
So Corona actually turned out to be a good thing then, as far as bringing people to you and helping you grow as well, right? So that's really great.
Yeah,
that's really great, and them as well, your clients as well. And the thing about Corona is, I think Ann and I noticed this too, and of course can interject as well, is that people have gone inside. They're learning to discover themselves. And I think that's a great thing. We both have recognized that just through callers and listeners. And there's a kind of a rework going on. The energetic. Everyone's coming out of 3 and going into 4 and 5. Energetically, and
I mean, I was talking to Anne beforehand, and and it's really like everyone has been forced to really look at themselves. It's like everyone has had a mirror forced in front of their face where they have to sit and look at themselves and assess their own life, and that's wonderful, no?
Right.
That's a blessing.
yeah, very much so. What I think what Ann and I both enjoy is you can hear that in callers and listeners that there's a certain discovery going on, and wanting to learn new things, meditation, a whole aspect of things. I mean, it's just the world's our oyster basically, and so a lot of people for the first time are reaching out to those such as yourself and myself. So it's interesting to hear. It's interesting to hear how people are coming to this space, and it's just how things are radiating differently. Even the earth, and I'm sure you've got to pick that up. That the earth's energy is definitely vibrating higher. The resonance.
Yeah, I really find that. Especially with my clients and the people that I'm working with, there there is a different need. People are finding that they need different things now. Like the old paradigm or the old way of being, the old kind of consumerist ways, or the things that we thought were important, they just kind of fallen away, and we need something simpler, and people really need to feel in a state of flow. Whereas before, their lives were stuck and they just thought that was normal and fine and there's nothing that anyone could do about it, and you just carry on living a quarter of the potential of your possible life. People realize that that's not how it is anymore, and their vision is really opening, and they're really starting to understand that there's so much more to life than just the things that we have been sold or told, or really have only been able to see ourselves. And so what I find is people are really raising their heads above the clouds of kind of normal life stuff, and looking further, and really kind of hearing further than just the words that people say, and seeing further than just the material things. And many people are finding they have, I like to call it the subtle qualities, which is what you guys do, to really, that we're not just a human being that does this, and this, and is only able to do this, and this. It's like everyone actually has all of these capacities, and people are waking up to that and starting to just kind of play around with that and feel it into their own lives.
That's wonderful. That's a true blessing.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's becoming more and more obvious. When this all first started, one of the things Ann and I were suggesting to everyone is shut off your TV and go outside, or spend time with family like you would when you were a child growing up. I know that we, as kids, my mom, if it was nice out, it would shove us out the door, and we wouldn't come back until the outside lights went on, right? Or lunchtime, we'd come knocking back at the door, and then we'd be out again. And, we were using our imaginations back then. It wasn't, sitting in front of a TV or sitting in front of a computer. We were really expanding ourselves. And I noticed that, that's what a lot of people are starting to do. And even just going into, getting out of the house and going into the wilderness or the desert here, for instance. And you just, of course, have an amazing place in Spain that has some beautiful places energetically. And I know the mountains there are absolutely gorgeous. So you live in a great power place. I know Ann does
I feel really,
too.
really lucky where we live.
Yeah. I think we're all pretty fortunate with that.
Yeah, and I think that people are starting to really reassess their values of things, and what truly has value now and what doesn't. Like, for example, my daughter, she's been doing homeschooling since coronavirus started, and what a blessing that has been. She's really changed in so many ways and flourished, and finding her passions, and really understanding herself through education instead of having education forced upon her. And that's kind of a little bit of a metaphor for for so many people's lives. Instead of having our lives forced upon us, we are really just flourishing into our possible existences. And I'm finding that amazing.
Yeah, right. It's a little bit like going back to basics a little bit, because stopping the stress, stopping a little bit the running around, because it's like we have been forced to stop that. And when you have more time, you're going to go to listen within. Right?
Right.
That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And many people need help with that. That's why I think why my work has just just expanded so wonderfully, is because people realize that while they have all of the kind of power and abilities and everything within themselves, they do need help to kind of unlock it, or just to find a balance within themselves where it expresses itself in a way that they can kind of feel good with, or manage, or cope with, in the right way. So, so the work that you guys are doing is marvelous. It's really marvelous.
And you too, Jim. You too. I'm so happy to hear your progress. I'm so happy, actually very happy. And they can find you on YouTube as well. So in the chat room, sorry for my voice. I think we all have an issue with our voice, right? Scrollsofthesoul.com/live in the chat room. You can read about, of course, we have a radio blog as well, but you can read about Jim, everybody listening, and there are contact info and everything. So go there. Go to scrollsofthesoul.com/live to the chat room and read about Jim. Okay?
Yeah, I'm actually just typing right now the name of the app because I see it's free, right, Jim? I don't see. It just says install.
It's called Insight Timer, and it's free. And so the live workshops I do every week, I do one on Saturday and one on Wednesday, and they're free. And people can donate if they wish to. No? But what I find is really interesting is that there is a need for community in this moment, and so people are really flocking to what I do because they need to feel a part of something that is of realness or of real value. That we're not just getting, we don't get taken in by the frivolities of life, the kind of little fun things that used to keep us going. We're looking for depth now.
Right.
People are really looking for depth, and they really want to experience life in a new way. So I was actually Insight Timer. They have something like 5,000 teachers on that app, and they invited just 100 of those to start doing these live things, and I was one of those 100, and I felt really honoured to be able to do that, and that's really kind of opened up my work as well, having access to an audience that's literally all over the world. So it's great that people are seeking their own empowerment now instead of it being something outside of themselves. People are really starting to feel themselves live in a different way, and therefore they naturally change. There's a natural need to experience this life in a different way, to kind of relish life in a different way. And I'm really, really like proud and honoured to be a part of that for so many people.
And it's actually, it's very common for people to reach out and search for meaning in other things when we are going through tough times. And not everyone has gone through a tough time this year. Some of us feel that this year has been a blessing. For me personally, I sense that has been a blessing, actually. Of course, there are people who have had tough experiences, but it's a very common thing to search for meaning, search for substance, search for something that gives life the real thing, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm finding is that it is really becoming evident that there is a cycle within all of us of meaning and mission, and so the more we find meaning in things, the more we feel compelled to live with mission or live with purpose. And the more we live with mission or purpose, the more we see the meaning in things. And so all of a sudden, what used to just be your normal everyday is actually lots of mini stories to help you along in your really feeling that you are living with meaning, with purpose, with passion, with verve, in a different way. And so I really find that in my own life, for example, the other day I was walking with my family just in the woods and our dogs, and I looked up above me, and there's a kind of bird of prey here in Spain called a milano, which is like an eagle, and there were 11 eagles just circling around above us.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, that's not a normal thing. That must
Oh,
mean
yeah.
something. And I didn't know what it meant at the time, but it forced me to live the rest of my day searching for other things that had meaning. You know, I kind of started to live in a different way instead of just in the carefree, careless way that often, you know, we used to live before things like coronavirus happened. Everything, there's more depth, and so when there is more depth, you search, you know, for layers, for everything in the different layers of that depth, and of course, naturally, it just makes your life feel so much more vibrant and of value to you. So yeah, what you say, Anne, about meaning is absolutely right. I see people all around who just lived in a very superficial way, and I don't mean that in a negative way at all, but many people do that. They don't want to kind of dip their toe into anything further than the simple things in life. But all people, they're really now starting to find a need to eat life, you know, to really go deeper and experience all of the, you know, the subtle qualities, all of the different layers, all of the other things that before they didn't feel were necessary, but now they need more.
Yeah, and you know, I think the reason why people do that search when it comes to times of challenges is because we are, including me, I admit that, we are, as humans, we are very convenient. So we sometimes need a push. And like I said before in the beginning here, like Sue said, she got a nice kind of some gentle push in the butt to to make some moves with her computer. But it's the same for me sometimes, even though I'm spiritual, and we need that reminder sometimes. And this past year, we have been reminded on a global scale. We have been reminded on a global scale.
I think that's so true. I've really found that, you know, many people before would seek comfort, especially men. You know, men they work really hard to get everything how they want it to be, and then they just sit back and purely look for comfort and nothing else. And that it just doesn't work anymore. And I'm finding a lot of men come to me because they feel this kind of emptiness where what used to kind of fill them is just not enough anymore. And they need to understand themselves and their place in the world. And for example, you know, a lot of people, they are aware that there is like an underlying order to things underneath the material life. And it's been, you get a lot of quantum physicists who talk about things like this, and you might call it God, or you might call it source or spirit, or, you know, it's got hundreds of different names, but there really is an underlying order beneath all of the normality of normal things. It is true. Yes. And when you find yourself really, when you allow yourself to just be in a state of flow, and I like to call it standing in the river of life, when you find you connect to it, and it's almost like just connecting to the natural poem or poetry of life that's going all around you, but before you didn't see it because it wasn't really important, and you were much more focused on things like money or your own entertainment or just fun or just getting through life and surviving. Now people understand that they are actually connected to that underlying order, and they want to feel it, and they really want to feel it and see it express itself into their own lives. So we're living in a very, very interesting time, I must say.
Oh,
we
yeah.
Are.
Oh,
yes, we are.
Without a doubt. Could I read a couple things from your app, if you don't mind? I'd like to give the audience just a little. It says Editor's Choice, why we love this. So the most robust option for a free meditation practice with thousands of sessions available, which I think that is awesome. You know, for a free site to have thousands, that is amazing. And then listen to guided meditation, soundtracks, and talks, or use the customized meditation timer. Engage with the community, see what other members are listening to, read session reviews, and join groups. So this is quite, I'll be adding it, because I want to add it to my phone as well and check it out. but I'm telling you, there's amazing reviews, and I'm sure you've seen it. I think that is just incredible.
I find one of the great things about Insight Timer is that on a very basic level, what you can do is you can kind of time your meditation. Say you'd like to do 20 minutes of meditation in the morning, so you go onto the app and you time that, and it gives you a timer for the beginning and the end of your 20 minutes. But then you can see all of the other people around the world who are meditating at the same time as you, or practicing yoga, or practicing whatever practice they're doing. And you can even send them a little message saying, "Hi, thank you for meditating with me." And it brings the world together, and it makes the world smaller. It makes us all a community instead of just lots of different people in lots of different countries. It brings like-minded people together, and that's great. That's where humanity needs to be. We need to be together. We need to really become more and more in an understanding of equality, that we are literally all the same. We all have the same potential, and we all have the same amazing abilities and feelings, and the ability to feel, and the ability to feel how other people are feeling. We all have that.
Right.
And when you feel part of a community, it naturally changes how your body functions. It helps your body create different chemicals and have different chemical reactions. So, it's a great app. I'm really lucky to be a part of it.
Right. Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I'll have to do that a little later. I was thinking as you were talking, when you talk about community, right? What I see visually is the virtual removing of the mask is what I see. So it's a removal of this thing that covers us from expressing ourselves, right? This is what I get a sense of when you speak about the app. So, technology to this degree is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm finding my work as a distance healer with healing ceremonies is that it's really helping people to start to see their own the amazingness within themselves. I get a lot of people who feel that they have blocks in their life, or they're not able to do something, or they're not flowing in their life, or they can't do this, or they can't do that, and a lot of it, to be honest with you, is just illusion. We build around ourselves.
Oh yeah.
And society builds around us all these illusions of limitations and blocks, and can't do this, and have to do that, and have to do this, and should do that, and should do this, and all these things, when actually most of them don't actually even exist. And if you help somebody see that, it's the most enriching thing for their life. It really is, because you just remind somebody that they're free, that they're really free to do all kinds of amazing things with their own life. So absolutely.
So in my sense, I usually feel that those restrictions, we are born here, and we come into this world. We don't remember past lives and things of that nature. So we come here without really knowing. So we are imposed a lot of written and unwritten rules. This is how you should be. This is how society works. This is how you can say. This is what you can't say. This is what you should do. So we have to step out of all of these things and question what is in alignment with me. What can I stand for and what can I not? Because that's how we can bring ourselves to be free, right?
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
much so.
It's interesting what you say. What can I stand for? It's a human being is inherently free, and we come into this world as a child, a complete genius. Really, and many children come into. I mean, my daughter is one. She's now 12, and she still talks about her past lives.
Wow.
and yet, you put someone like that in a school, and you give them formality, formal education, formal society rules, formal this, formal that. You have to do this, you have to do that, and they never lose that, because you are always complete. No one can ever take anything from you, but a veil appears around you where you don't actually quite see the truth anymore. I mean, I find working with a lot of people that they will have a relationship that finishes and they feel their heart was broken, or they feel that person took something from them, or people have a difficult situation in their life that took something away from them. And it's simply not true. Everyone is always completely there in their entirety. It's just an illusion that something got broken or taken away. And I love the fact that my work is based on just helping people see that, because that's massive.
It's massive.
Right.
And, many people today, and maybe in the past time also, a long time ago, search for the other half, so to speak. So if I don't find my other half, I'm not going to be happy. But that's also searching outside of yourself. You can't find anything. If you find that part within you, then you will attract someone who would be a good partner for you. But it's not that person that's going to make you happy, or it's not buying that car, having that wonderful house. All of those things are things outside of you. It's not giving you the happiness you seek. You really seek.
I mean, my understanding of the reason for that is that we live in a society that is not necessarily based on fear, but that has kind of succumbed to a fearful way. And so if you live in a society that's based on fear, then everything is about you, and that you need to make sure that you get everything you need so that you are okay. So you hoard things, you make sure that you get what you need, and then maybe you help other people out. No, but in a society that's based on love, and I don't mean love in a kind of airy fairy way. I mean literally based on the creative energy of the universe, real love, honest, genuine, unconditional love. A society that's based on that is about sharing, and it's about taking care that everyone has what they need, and that everyone is okay, and that there is balance. And so instead of it being all about one person, it's about a balance for all people, an equality for all people. And there is no reason why we cannot live like that. And we're actually starting to. And the more that we have female leaders of countries or political leaders or of organizations, of everything, women are born leaders. Women understand what real leading is, and men kind of came along because maybe they were physically stronger, which I don't even believe is true anymore. And men kind of found themselves in that position, and just based all kinds of systems in the world on black and white, essentially, because that's how men think. Right. Men are either asleep or awake, they're hungry or they're not hungry, they want sex or they don't. Yeah. It's as simple as that in a man. Obviously, men are more complex than that, but you can take it to that more basic level. But women have there's so much more complexity that there is a necessity to have community with women. And that necessity for a balanced community is how the whole world will change. So the more women you have in leadership roles in the world, the greater the human race is going to be, as far as I can see it.
Well, it is the age of Aquarius, right? So
exactly.
Just thought I would throw that in there. There's just one or two things I wanted to add to this really quick, Jim. So in our chat room on schoolsofthesoul.com/live, I just posted a couple things. Anne had as well. With the app, I just went to Google because they have the Play Store, and put a link up. Not everyone uses Google Play though, because iPhones or do you guys use that with iPhone as well? The Play Store?
No, App Store.
Or App Store. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So I just put a link up on the in the blog area for that links right to the app, the Insight Time Meditation, Sleep, and Music, if anyone is interested in going to that. And then
that's wonderful. I tried to sneak peek and find it on I have an Android with Google Play, but I couldn't find the app. But I'm going to use your link. Thank you.
Okay. And then the other is you brought up eagles, right? I had this. I took a very short class with some shaman. It was like a day event, and I met some amazing shamans. And so when you said eagle, I had this really, really awesome experience. Anne knows about this, but I don't think I've ever said it publicly. So we were all in a group. We were outside, and the woman who was doing the meditation, I could feel myself start to sway. I mean, really, like I was going to be pulled down. And then the next thing you know, I see me up in the sky as an eagle, and I'm flying. And literally, I had to be caught when this happened because I was headed straight for the ground. I was already to plant my face in the dirt, and this group of people just caught me, and it was incredible. You know, the shamanistic. God, I'm brain farting what this particular one was. It's out of Peru. Very powerful though, and it's a course I'd like to eventually finish. So yeah, when you said eagle, I found that interesting. I went to look for the meaning for you of eagle, and it just says, I'll give you a quick summary. It says, the eagle is often a solar symbol and can be linked to all sky gods. It signifies inspiration, release from bondage, victory, longevity, speed, pride, father, and royalty. It is often an emblem for powerful nations. The Roman, French, Australian, German, and American people have all adopted this image as their symbol. So, I mean, there's a lot of information on that, you know, the meaning when you see an eagle. But I had put in 11 eagles, because 11 is actually, with numbers and numerology, I had discovered that 1111 is actually a door, a gate, two doors, kind of like French doors that open up. And so, you know, when you said 11, I thought, oh, you know, right at that time you were discovering, right? When you went out on that walk.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I remember actually when coronavirus first kind of blew up, and here in Madrid the streets were absolutely empty. There wasn't a car on the motorway or anything. I remember being out one day and seeing 11 eagles that day as well. I don't know what 11 means because I don't know much about numerology, but it's just I find that the more I take something as sacred, the more that affects my life in a particular way. Because you could just look at 11 eagles and go, oh, right, okay, yeah, 11 eagles. Oh, nice. Yeah. Or you could go, that means something. That is something sacred. That is a message for me. I don't know what it is, but automatically you live in a different way. You know, you live with more depth. You start to search for meaning in other things. So yeah, and the eagle is a really interesting animal. It's been adopted by so many nations because it's such a wise animal. If you understand how an eagle actually hunts, you know, it soars above the land, and it just kind of moves around, hovers around, checking out everything, making sure that everything is. So it gathers information, and then it takes action, which is what human beings ought to do. But we often take action and then look for the information afterwards.
Yeah.
So
and
interesting.
And if you should follow the signs around, which we are given more time to observe, right? Because basically, if we are a little bit more observant and we are still and we see things, we pay attention to what's going on around us, there are signs all over the place every day, every single moment, but we don't see them because we follow what we usually call convention. This is how we should do it. So we rush from one point to another. We have to do this and we have to do that and we have to do so many things. But now, this past year, that have cut off somehow as a blessing. I just see it as a blessing. It's absolutely wonderful. And I do understand that not all people have had a very easy year. I understand that. But there's always, no matter how things look, there's always a blessing. And sometimes we need that push so that we actually start to listen within and see the signs around us.
Yeah, that's so true. It really is so true. Yeah, you do. You have signs all around you all the time. But we do just walk around like headless chickens sometimes. And we just, because we are animals that have a mind that is very highly active, we get stuck in the mind sometimes. And we just, often you'll find yourself sitting there thinking, and before you know it, you've sat there for 20 minutes and lost 20 minutes of your life thinking. And then you snap out of it and you're like, all right, I don't even know what I was thinking about. It wasn't even anything of value. So, like, the mind is a really powerful tool in so many ways, but we often use it to our own detriment, I suppose you could say. I think that's why meditation and mindfulness and all kinds of all these new ways of enlivening the spirit have come along, because we need that, and the human being it's no longer enough for us to just be stuck in our minds thinking all day. It doesn't serve us. We are not really standing in the river of life. We're not allowing flow. We're just stuck in mental cycles that don't actually mean anything.
Yeah, exactly. And we are born here with certain qualities and gifts, right? And our mind is one of them. So it's not like we are supposed to dismiss that, but we live too much in our mind, just as you say. And we need to involve our intuition, because we have that, or every one of us. It's not like a certain type of people or few have talents and abilities and gifts and everything. Everyone has them. But we, like you said way before, it's like all of those things are covered with a veil, so we can't see through it, because it's so many things that are standing in the way, and they are not hard to get rid of. We just need to start to be willing, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. It's I find that life can be very confusing for lots of people, and when you've had poor no, that's not the right word. When your education has failed you and taught you that you're not good enough, or you can compare yourself to other people but always lose, you try and fall back on resources, your own resources, but they haven't been properly trained. And then therefore you feel unrooted, or you feel like you don't have resources, and so life starts to fall to pieces, and depression comes in, or the mind just takes over and runs riot in your life. So right. I really feel like I feel fortunate to be able to work with people to show them that they have the most incredible resources within their own lives. Yeah. They just need to be able to see it, to have vision, to actually see the true nature of their own life. It's a very simple thing, and yet most people don't even know that that's the case. We all just kind of look at the stuff in our life and say, well, this is life. A table is made of wood and a computer is made of plastic, and that's just that's it. That's life. There's nothing else. But that's just not the case at all. There's so much there, and there's so much there within each person. If you just allow the door to open a tiny bit, it flies open, and all kinds of magical things come out that most people never even knew were there. And most people who've been struggling through life, not understanding why or how, or why they get stuck in certain games, or why they get taken advantage of by other people, and you just help them to see that door opening themselves, and life just rushes through. It really does.
Yeah,
Right.
it does. And the beautiful thing is, I remember, of course, I came from a family that was aware of those things, but maybe not to the extent we are talking today, right? But I know that my grandmother pulled cards and she had some just the knowing about things and intuition and sensitivity, and my mother as well. But when I started consciously to really, the science around me increased. I was swimming around, taking shower every day in science. So it is like, when we show up to the universe that I'm willing, I'm going to open up, I'm willing. We're not being left alone. So we have so many with us, guides, angels, you can name it in however way you want, right? But there are forces that are helping us, and we just need to be willing and to trust that what we get is correct. And sometimes, even for me today, sometimes some signs, it takes me a while. It's not like everything makes sense at once. If I don't really focus on it, I just observe and I notice, and it's going to make sense at some point. It's going to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Quickly, and with that statement about it's going to make sense if it doesn't make sense right now, this is, I love doing the numbers, right? And the angel numbers was my first introduction to some form of numerology. And so you would see numbers and then you would rush to go in and see, look up what it meant. And it's almost always about your growth, where you are in your growth and things around you and that are happening, which is all really good stuff. But the number 1111 every single day, 4 years, Jim. Talk about meanings, right? And I know the meaning already from the sites we've gone to, but I felt like I wasn't getting the answer because it just kept appearing, right? And I had something happen. It was a couple months ago, and I told Ann about it, and specifically was informed about that number, that it wasn't opening a gateway, a door, 2 doors specifically. So that was like, oh yes, finally I know what that one number means. Now I have to understand, why do I keep seeing it? And I'm still seeing it still today. So I got that far with it, And there's many more numbers we all see, and that has meaning. But this one sticks with me. So
well, I find, Sue, that we're given so much meaning. We're told that this means this, and for example, that crystals, this lapis lazuli means this thing, and quartz means that thing, and there's all kinds of meaning that we are told about. But if you don't really feel it yourself, then it's not the truth. It's just information. We decide on our own meaning. We
right.
I think that's part of the great part of living life is you get to go through and you write your own story, and so you decide what has meaning for you, and if something doesn't, then you just discard it and you carry on seeking meaning for yourself. Obviously there are things. I mean, I've not picked the best example with stones because there's a lot of work that's gone into why each thing means what it does. But if you create your own meaning, if you decide why your life, or why you were given a life, if you put meaning behind that, it's impossible for you to live in a small way. It's impossible for you to live kind of with blinkers, like those old kind of cart horses used to have these things over their eyes so they couldn't see. They could only see forwards. But when you decide what means something in your own life, you, not anyone else, it just creates so much space and so much fear goes away, just gently falls away, because you're not trying to adhere to somebody else's rules. You're
Right.
obviously, you don't go through life hurting other people or causing damage, or you don't hurt anyone else on their path. But at the same time, we don't have to live by so many of the rules that have been kind of enforced upon us.
Right. No, I agree. Hey, Jim, hang on really quickly because we have a question in the chat room, and I had answered Little Fairy is in the chat room. She's on every week with us, and she's just a really sweet spirit. And so she had said something that was happening. I've got to scroll back a little bit, guys. And Jim, of course, would you like to give her a reading once I read out her question? Would you be up for that?
I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. so off the cuff. I'll have a go. Let's see how we get on.
All right. Okay. So, hi, Little Fairy. We love you. We're so grateful that you show up every week. And so this is what she said with her question. Hello, Ann and Sue. Hope you're doing well. I'm going back to my old job this Monday as the working conditions at my new job are bad. Ooh. They also put me on the bench at the new job. I'm not really sure what you mean, Little Fairy, by on the bench, but any guidance, please. Thanks. So maybe there's something you can pick up from that, Jim?
Yeah, okay. So you're saying, Little Fairy, that you changed your job and it didn't work out, and so you've gone back to what was before, but when you went back to what there was before, they put you on the bench, they sidelined you, they didn't give you what you were expecting to have. So you had that first job and it wasn't serving you, so you went and tried something else.
She did say have not been assigned. Has not been assigned any projects. So okay.
But then she's gone back to the old thing, expecting that the old thing would give her something that it didn't give her before. Then my heart, if I was to put my hand on my heart and give you the answer to that, I would say forward motion is what a human being was designed to do. Human beings were not really designed to go backwards. If you look at how our body is made, we are designed to move forwards. We can go backwards. It's a little bit awkward though. It's far easier to go forwards. So if you've gone back to an old thing and you're finding it's not giving you what you need, you have to register. It's very important that you register. Well, what is it that you need then? What are your needs? What do you really require in a working environment? Almost to the point of writing it down and sitting and really being with yourself. I'd almost just sit on my own for X amount of time, 5, 10, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever, with just a pen and a notebook, and sit there and ask myself, well, what are my needs? How do I feel? How do I feel about what's happened? And how do I want to feel? What would I like? Right. What would I actually like to have as my job? And then what do I therefore need to create less and less of a gap between me and that? How can I become that? How can I be that? How can I be that which I wish? And of course, if you look at things like law of attraction or all of these millions and millions of people who talk about manifesting things, the answer is really very simple. It's to just find within yourself actual, honest, genuine feeling of flow. And when you find a feeling of flow by just being with yourself and taking care of yourself, self-care, allowing life to just pass by around you without you falling into all of the little traps and wasting your energy. So finding yourself in an energetic flow where things just naturally work in a way that is pleasing and positive for you. And then when you feel anything that you feel on the inside has to represent itself on the outside. Okay, so anything that you feel on the inside will naturally mirror in your material reality. And so if you feel unfulfilled and frustrated or unhappy, then literally the frequency of every atom, molecule, whatever the word is, up to cell in your body is going to be slightly different from if you're happy and joyful and just pleased to have been given the gift of a life. Do you understand what I mean? So it's like the more you spend time with yourself and taking care of yourself and being with yourself and nurturing yourself to be your own mother and father, instead of blaming your own actual mother and father because they never gave you this or never did that for you, if you be your own parents and look after your own inner self, inner child, inner baby, whatever, then life will manifest itself in a different way. It really, really will. It's so simple, and yet we think it is deeply complicated because people have written books about it, and there's all kinds of courses you can do, and you're sold all of these things of how difficult it may well be for you to just live in flow. When all you really need to do is just visualize in yourself that simplicity, just that joy of having given a life, and that joy of being able to look after yourself and take care of yourself. And then in that feeling, your circumstances will change. And I don't mean by magic, but they will change because your frequency has changed. The outside has to express itself as a mirror to the inside.
Wow, that was beautifully said. Exactly. Exactly. So I know that Little Fairy said thanks makes sense. So thank you so much, Jim. You did that excellent. And thank you so much, Little Fairy. We love you very much.
My pleasure.
I have a few very short. I'm going to be very, very short here because it's so wonderful to talk to you, Jim. I'm just going to make a few short announcements. And just one more. We have a little bit of a time, so we'd love to talk to you. You can call in at 213-943-3587. 213-943-3587. International callers dial +1 before the number and press 1 if you want to talk with us live on the show. Otherwise, we won't pick up your call out of respect for you. And you can go to our chat room at scrollsofthesoul.com/live and text chat with us and listen live on the player if you want to do that. And on today's show, we talk to special guest Jim Rajan and discussing Jim's new healing ceremony and standing in the river of life. And Jim has some absolutely outstanding tips here, so tune in. And if you want to connect with Jim Rajan, you can find him at Jim Rajan with a J, right? JimRajan.com. And if you'd like to connect with me, Anne, or Sue, you can find us at growthofthesoul.com/Sue or growthofthesoul.com/Anne. And the number again, guys, you can call in. Now is a great time to call in at 213-943-3587. 213-943-3587. International callers dial +1 before the number and press 1 to talk with us live on the show. And I know that all three of us would love to talk to you. And our next upcoming show here on Scrolls of the Soul Radio is next Thursday, March 4th, 2021, with Soul Sister Show and host Sue and Ann, and we will be talking about soul realignment. We'll be on 10 a.m. Pacific in the US, 6 p.m. London in the UK, 7 p.m. Sweden, and 8 p.m. Greece. So, plus your calls for questions and mini readings live on air. Now I think I'm done. Guys, let's go back to the show.
Nice, short and sweet, Sissy. Oh,
yeah, very short. I want to hear more.
I was going to say, I made these mental notes for Jim, and now I'm listening to you do the announcements, and I forgot what I was going to ask Jim about. I know what I was going to say. So when you said to Little Fairy about what we naturally do is to move forward in our steps, that it's uncomfortable to walk backwards. You know, that is the most simplistic and probably easiest way to state that, and it's so true. Taking, a job that you left because you wanted to move forward, and then taking that step back doesn't move you forward, so to speak, right? So the internalizing that you had advised her to do, which is very important, and especially writing it down, I couldn't agree more. Ann knows this really well. It's something I fought for a really long time about journaling, making notes about things I've heard or seen, and it really is. I got to tell you, it really is so important when you do it, because when you look back, you see the progression on how you move forward. The things that may have occurred 6 months, a year ago. I think it's really important, and it's always something Ann and I suggest, and the other aspect.
I agree. I find journaling, it really helps to just clarify things, and you just get to do a kind of brain dump and just dump all of the thoughts and all of the ideas you've been just holding that have been going around in circles for even years and years, and you're able to just release yourself from the chain of those thoughts. But actually, when you start to just find yourself writing, when you almost kind of channel your writing, the most amazing things come out, and the most amazing poetry comes out. But when you, for example, say you decide you're a poet and that you have to write poetry, so you sit down with a pen and paper and you go, right, I'm going to write poetry. Nothing comes out ever, or what comes out is just drivel. But when you happen to have a pen and a notepad with you all the time, and you're finding yourself in a beautiful place in nature or something, the love within you that is creative energy just needs to express itself, and you find yourself writing things. You find yourself writing all kinds of things. So we need to. It's important for us to understand how human beings actually work, because most of the kind of systems in place for us, they don't really help us to live the everything that is a human being. They really don't. They really kind of constrict and confine us. And while that's useful for people who want to have power over other people, that is an old paradigm that's changing and starting to kind of fade away. So it's
right.
I have quite a few clients who are writers, and what I find after doing a healing ceremony or a piece of work with them is they always have a kind of boost. They always have a kind of rush of just creative energy, because we've reminded them that there are no limitations. We've reminded them they don't have to do anything. That they are free to just express without choreography, without limits. And in doing so, people are automatically just produce the most beautiful things.
Right. Yeah.
Yes,
no,
exactly.
I agree. Yeah. The other aspect to that too is what you discover, right? One of the things, I'm going to give you an example. So, let's say you discover there's some things you've been internalizing, some painful events in your life, right? And then there are ways in which you can handle that. When you decide you want to let something go, as a for instance, right? My first thought would be to write a letter, like you said, to the person or the event or whatever it may be, and then make that decision that when you're ready, you're going to burn that letter. By doing that, you're symbolizing you're really letting it go into the ethers. You're just finally going to breathe. You're going to take this weight off of your shoulders, your back, because it does affect you physically. And a lot of us forget that it does. We forget that the emotions can attack us physically. And just from someone who's done that myself, I could tell you there's a huge relief when that occurs.
Yeah. I remember when I first started. Oh, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, it was just one example I could think of as you were talking about, how to go about it and what we do.
Yeah. I remember when I was just starting my training with these two shaman women when I was much younger, and I did a fire ceremony with them, which is what that is. Essentially, you sit and you write what you want, but you don't write what you don't want. You write in a very positive way the things that you want, and then you set fire to it, and you do a little ceremony with burning herbs and all kinds of things, and a piece of paper. I remember every time I used to do that, everything that I'd written down exactly to the letter came out, and I would be so freaked out by that. But it's true, because you just give away. You give away the result. We're so fixed on the result and the target, and I have to have this, and it has to be this color with this thing on it. Now, when we give away the result, it just loosens up so much of your own potential energy and your own ability to manifest your own life.
Right.
I find so much that everything is about results. Everything has to be like this. Oh no, my life must be like this. I expect this thing. I deserve this thing, and I deserve this thing now. In fact, I want it yesterday. And all of a sudden, all you're doing is just you're just creating a greater and greater distance between you and what you really want. So yeah, I find things like fire ceremonies are just magical.
Yeah.
I also do a great one with a lot of my clients, which is a burial ceremony, where you actually make something. You make a thing that represents what no longer serves you, and it may be written. You may actually make things out of wood or wool or any kind of natural fibers. And I actually had a client who took 6 months to make the thing that they were going to bury, and then you do a ceremony to bury it with, and you make it have as much meaning as possible, and it absolutely just transforms your life. Anyone who is of education would say that that's just ridiculous hocus pokery, or whatever the word is. No, but it's not. It actually really changes things.
It works, because you know what? We focus a lot of energy on that item. So we put in our intention and everything into it. Of course it's going to work, because everything is energy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything is just waves. If you take your body down to the most simplest part, there are just trillions of separate cells, and at the core of each one of those is just a wave with a piece of information. And so, everything is just energy and information. That's all there really is. We touch something and it's hard, but that's just because it's vibrating at a particular frequency that provides us with the feeling that it's hard. But everything really, science says everything is literally just energy and information. So if you understand that, you can apply that to your life. You can make sure that you have the right information, and you can make sure that you take care of your energy. It's as simple as that.
No, I agree, and there's, like you said, there's so many ways to do that. Jim, I've got a caller. I'm going to grab a call. We've got a couple minutes left. Let me do this real quick, because I don't want to miss out. So give me a second.
I need 5 minutes in the end. Okay.
Okay, sissy. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. My name is Carrie, and I'm calling from Rhode Island.
Oh, welcome.
Hi, Kimberly.
Carrie, she said.
Carrie,
sorry.
Sorry.
That's okay. No, I was just listening into your show. It's beautiful. So I decided to raise my hand. I wasn't sure if you were taking particular questions. I know you only have a short time period left, but
right.
I've gone through a transition in my own life after a period of about 5 to 6 years of loss, and being in a relationship that didn't serve me well, unmarried but owning property. We're finally able to sell it, so I just started a new beginning for myself personally, and I'm dealing with some issues with my remaining family member who's living, my mom. So I'm open to anything that you have, messages or otherwise, that might come through for you now, because things have it's like my eyes have been open to, letting go, cutting cords, behaviors that no longer serve me. And that goes for family as well as, any other associations, unfortunately. But it's just really hard to repair something, when you can't change other people. I'm not here to change other people, but, for the better, not the worse. I don't know how to explain it.
Right. Well, let me ask Jim, if that's okay, and then we'll go from there. Jim, you have anything for Carrie?
Yeah, I know. I know we don't have much time. So what's my feeling by the sound of the microtones in your voice, Carrie, is it's about taking responsibility. We can have all kinds of situations in our life. Some of them, painful or difficult. Some of them wonderful, fantastical, and magical. But when you really, actually, genuinely, from the core of your heart, take responsibility for your own life and everything that is in it, everything starts to flow in a completely different way. And yet, if you push that responsibility away and enforce it and push it on other people, or say, it's this, I can't live my life because of this person, or I can't do what I want because of this situation. What you're telling life is, I can't, and life goes, oh right, okay, she can't, perfect. Then I'll give her more opportunities to have she can't. So when you take responsibility, you're saying, literally, I can. ... I can anything. I can all of the wonderful things, and I can also all of the difficult things, because it's all. I am a very capable individual, which you obviously are. So
going from I can, I want to say I have, and I'm so proud of myself. Even though it's been a setback for me personally, I'm really proud to have gotten through a really tough situation. So for my mother's response is sort of disheartening, because it's more about, I tried to support you. I tried to this, but I accomplished it. So I know I'm already through it, So it's like, I just, it's hard for me to communicate with her, because it's like she needs validation. Yes,
but you have to remember that she's your mother, and of course, but she's also a human being, and that how a human being's emotional life is nothing to do with another human being. How that person embraces their life is nothing to do with you. And so when you get embroiled in that, it's naturally going to cause you difficulty, and it's naturally going to stop your flow. So I'm not saying reject your mother, but what I am saying is, be aware that while you have that emotional tie to the person who brought you into this world, you're not responsible for how that person lives their existence. You can help them, and you can offer them your love and support. But when we go further than that, we often get tripped up.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because it's been painful for me. Just, I want to not celebrate. It's, it's my father had passed away, so, numerous family members passed away, but my mom's I just see her differently, and, I want to connect, but it's very difficult. So it's just, one day at a time. I appreciate that insight.
Yeah, absolutely. But, we all want to connect with all kinds of things, but when something doesn't want to connect with us, it's not our fault. It's nothing to do with you, and it's very important that you respect that and see that you are. You have done nothing wrong. It is that other person is living in a world where maybe they're confused and they don't really see the true nature of things. But the more you see the true nature of things, that is what's important.
Yes. Okay. Exactly. And so I'm here. Hi, Carrie. Chiming in again. So we only have a few minutes left, but Jim said that very, very, very well. And, we basically say the same thing, but we have a different way of expressing it maybe. And if those things that are challenging us, I usually say that those are our greatest keys to understanding what we need to work on. And it's not always comfortable. We do not always laugh, actually, and it can feel really challenging sometimes. But those are, if we are staying in the energy of resistance towards trying to accept it, because sometimes we only just need to accept, okay, this is how it is, but I can't take responsibility for my mother or other people in my life, how they are acting. I can take responsibility for how I respond. So it's your response, and you have every right to respond in a way that's going to be good for you. Sometimes people around us react because we change. Other times they get it at once. So anything can happen. But just know that if you keep sending them love and tell them everything is all right, you just do your thing because you know what you have to do. And like Jim said, no one can ever follow the path of someone else or, do what it takes. Does that make sense?
It does. It's just, it's a little painful. I feel like I have to defend myself, and I try, not to react because it's just this never-ending cycle. Yeah. But, sometimes you have, generations. I'm just determined to break that. I'm breaking free of that. I just, she's just not received well. So I'll work on it every day.
And sometimes if it's a lot of tension, it's not bad to buy yourself a little bit of time until you have worked yourself through anything energetically. Right. So just avoid stepping into drama because that can keep you in the loop for a very long time. Does that make sense? And sometimes people try to drag us into that drama to keep us there. But we can always change our response. That's how we change the energy around the situation. And sometimes it happens overnight, other times it takes time. But you're doing great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carrie.
Very much, both of you.
Yes, and you too. Okay, I'm going just to wrap things up a little bit. So on today's show, we are so very honored to have been talking here to special guest Jim Rajan, discussing Jim's new healing ceremony and standing in the river of life. And Jim has outstanding experiences to share with anyone. And if we didn't get a chance to get your call, please call into our next show. Next show will be here on Scrolls of the Soul Radio next Thursday, March 4th, 2021, with Soul Sister Show and host Sue and Ann, talking about soul realignment. Plus your calls for questions and mini readings live on air. We'll be on 10 a.m. Pacific in the U.S., 6 p.m. London in the U.K., 7 p.m. Sweden, and 8 p.m. Greece. You can always listen to replays anytime on Blog Talk Radio, of course, or at scrollsofthesoul.com/past, or on YouTube. Search for Scrolls of the Soul Radio directly on YouTube. And you can even find, we featured Jim Rajan's YouTube channel on our own YouTube, so we just put it up there, linked it for you so you can find it. And we have been writing a lot of things in the chat room at scrollsofthesoul.com/live, so you can go in there and find how to connect with Jim Rajan. You can connect with him at jimrajan.com, Rajan with a J. Okay, and if you'd like to connect with me, Ann or Sue, you can find us at scrollsofthesoul.com/Sue or scrollsofthesoul.com/Ann. And I'm going to stop talking soon because I think we need to. Sissy, is there anything else you want to say before we end the show? So Jim has a chance to say something too.
Thank you, Jim, so much for coming on. I'm sorry we have to shorten it here, so I'm just going to hand it to you. But we do absolutely love you, and we're so happy to have you on. Okay, Jim, go for it.
Thank you. No, well, thank you so much. It was a real pleasure to be a part of this and to talk with you both again, and to help those people who phoned in. So yeah, a real genuine pleasure. Anytime at all. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Jim. And Sissy, do you have anything?
Shout out to my mom. Angels watch over you all night long. And again, thank you, Jim, and our audience. Sissy?
Yeah. Yes, I say thank you, our audience, and Jim. Thank you so much. We love you to death. That sounds horrible, but that's in a positive way. Love, life, peace, and joy to all of you. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.